interior angles of a polygon. So we're going to move away from triangles for the moment, and we're going to start talking about any shape. It doesn't have to be a triangle, it could be any shape. The sum, S, we're going to use the letter S for our sum, of the interior angle measures of a polygon with n sides, so we're using n to represent the number of sides, is, and here's an equation we have, S equals, and then n minus 2 in parentheses, times 180. So I'm going to take the number of sides and subtract 2, and then multiply that by 180. This works for any shape, and let's try it with a triangle, which is a polygon. A triangle has 3 sides. If I do 3 minus 2, that gives me 1, and 1 times 180 is 180. So this totally works for a triangle because I know that the interior measures of a triangle equal 180. We also work a lot with rectangles and squares, and we know that the interior angles of a rectangle or a square equals 360. Hopefully you knew that was 360. So let's try it with 360. If I put 4 sides in my my formula here, 4 minus 2 is equal to 2, and 2 times 180 is 360. So it works for a quadrilateral, which has 4 sides also, a rectangle or a square being a quadrilateral. This works for any side, any shape that has any number of sides. We can go up to 100 sides. We could still use it. All right, so let's put it into action. Find the sum of the interior angles of the polygon. So we're looking for what all of these angles add up to. When we worked with a triangle, we knew they all add up to 180. If we work with a quadrilateral, which has 4 sides, we know it adds up to 360. But after that, you may not remember what each of the sums are. So let's take a look at this shape. First, we need to know the number of sides. So when I do the number of sides, I just try to count them. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 sides that I'm working with here. So the number of sides is 6. I'm going to plug them into this formula that we have. I'm going to put my 6 sides into my formula. 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. 4 times 180 is 720. So that means that the sum of all these angles, they add up to 720 when I have 6 sides on my shape. All right, so let's use that to find information that we do not yet know. So find the value of x. We've got this crazy shape here. We actually have one angle that's almost a straight line. It's 160 degrees there. So we want to find the value of x, which is this one angle way over here, sitting here by itself. So again, I want to start by figuring out what's the sum of all these angles. When we worked with a triangle, we knew it was 180. That was pretty straightforward. But here, I don't know exactly the measure of all of the angles. So we need to start by figuring out the number of sides. So again, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And those aren't hash marks. I'm not saying that they're all equal to each other. I'm just counting, making sure I don't repeat. So I've got 7 sides. I'm going to plug this into my formula. 7 minus 2 is 180. That's 5 times 180, which is 900. So this is telling me that this polygon has a sum of interior angles of 900 degrees. Okay, so far so good. So now we go back to kind of thinking about when we worked with our triangles and we said add up all the measures and it should equal 180. Here we're going to add up all the measures and it should equal to 900. So I'm going to take all of these angle measures here. There's a lot. There are 7 of them. And it should be equal to a total sum of 900. And what I kind of do is I tend to start at one of them. So I start at the x because that was pretty distinctive and easy to remember. And I just kind of went around and made sure I got them all. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got them all. When I combine like terms here, I get x plus 776 equals 900. Subtract the 776. And I come up with x equals 124. So this other measure here is 124 degrees. Remember that I should be able to check that really quickly. If I put 124 and add it with all of the rest of these, I should come up with a measure of 900 degrees. All right, last one we're going to work with here with our polygons for now. A regular polygon has all congruent sides and all congruent angles. So this is not a regular polygon because all of its angles are different from each other, and I've got some side lengths that are kind of longer than others. I've got a long one up here, I've got a short one down at the bottom. So this is not regular. So if you think of a stop sign, that's a regular polygon. All of the sides and all of the angles are the same as each other. So when we say the word regular, that's what we mean by a regular polygon. All the sides and all the angles are the same. All right, find the measure of each angle of a regular, there's our big hint there, 12-sided polygon. So I've got a polygon with 12 sides. All the sides are congruent to each other. All the angles are congruent to each other. So how are we going to find the measure of one angle in that. Remember that one angle in that polygon is the same as all the other angles. So first we need to figure out what's the sum of all of those angles. So again, I'm going to go back to this formula. I'm going to plug in my 12 sides, and I get S equals 10 times 180, which is 1800. That's a nice easy one to work with. All right, so I know that altogether they add up to 1800, but I don't want to know the total of the sum. I want to know what each angle measure is by itself. So I'm going to go back, and I remember this was a 12-sided polygon, which means it has 12 angles also. So I know that since each angle is congruent to all the others, I'm going to use X to represent the measure of one angle, because they're all the same. There are 12 of them, so I can do 12 times that one angle, and it should be equal to 1800. So really simply I divide by 12, and I get X is equal to 150. So that tells me that each angle in this regular polygon has a measure of 150 degrees. Now we're not talking about the size of it, so I can't talk about the length of the side because it could be really small or it could be really big. However, we know that similar shapes have equal angle measures and equal shapes. So we know that the angle measures in any, no matter how big it is, 12-sided polygon will be 150 degrees. So here's the formula that we're kind of really relying on to figure out what the sum of the angle measure is. Our S equals n minus 2 times 180.